Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hey, I'm Kim Holderness.
And I'm Ben Holderness.
We host the Holderness Family Podcast every Tuesday.
You may know us from the silly videos that we make online.
Or a book about marriage called Everybody Fights.
Or as winners of season 33 of The Amazing Race.
Still can't believe that happened. Listen, we do a lot of stuff, but our podcast is our most favorite thing.
Yeah, because every week we get to sit down face-to-face, talk to each other about marriage, family, mental health, or just anything that we want to know more about.
Sometimes we have expert interviews, sometimes it's just us, but our goal is to bring some joy and laughter into your life every week.
Our other goal is that maybe you will learn something as well.
Right, so search the Holderness Family Podcast and check out our most recent episodes. We have one about staying organized with creators of the Home Edit.
And one about being diagnosed with ADHD as an adult.
We hope you'll join us.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Hello, it's Dave here, and I'm with my wife, Cathy.
Hello.
And you're listening to the Cinemile, where we walk to the movies, which is what we're doing right now. We're going to go see Glass. And that is the kind of anticipation that is mounting here.
Pregnant pause.
Because we don't really want to see this in that... Well, right now, we're just not really in the mood. Do you know what I mean?
I'm hoping it's good because we watched... last weekend, and actually loads of people tweeted us they were doing this as well. Last weekend we watched Unbreakable to kind of get ourselves psyched up because I'd seen it once and didn't remember it, and Dave had never seen it, and we both really liked it.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
Really great.
It's
really holds up.
a sequel to The Sixth Sense.
Well,
it feels identical and I mean this as a compliment. The
Sorry.
vibe and the feeling
yeah,
and the
it's
setting.
It's in no way a sequel to The Sixth Sense.
But it feels like it.
It feels very much like hot off the back of The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
It feels like it's made by the same movie maker.
Yeah.
And everything that's good about The Sixth Sense is kind of present in that movie.
Including
as in,
Bruce
like,
Willis.
It's as in it's very like atmospheric and slow and focused on character.
Yeah.
And
it's a lovely length. It's quite short as well. Really moves, it zips along.
It's very, very good. However, but it's got kind of the hallmarks of where M. Night Shyamalan's career goes, and it's like almost like an early warning indicator. Like, he picked up all the bad habits that sort of unraveled his career are all in Unbreakable, as in, like, the plot is actually really stupid if you start to think about it. Spoilers for Unbreakable, but like anytime Samuel Jackson talks about the plot, it's like, I believe that comic books are a form of, like, history revealing people with hidden powers in reality, and I am completely breakable, so naturally I've been looking for someone who's unbreakable.
Yeah,
so to do that, I've been causing terrorist incidents.
It's a bit thin.
It's like what?
But I was saying to Dave, but if
it's not
personally,
just thin, it's
I think that
nonsense.
But if you take the plot of any superhero movie and unravel it, it is basically nonsense. So to enjoy any of those movies, I think you have to park that.
Yeah.
So I parked that and enjoyed Unbreakable.
No. But this is like nonsense of the highest degree, and then he drops in his like trademark twist for no reason at the end, and then just wraps it up with a title card. So a lot of real problems with that movie.
But the title card was weird as well. Like, for a mainstream, like, fictional Hollywood blockbuster to have cards at the end telling you what happened to characters next. It's like, felt really cheap.
It felt like they literally ran out of film reel.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have enough actual film reel to finish the movie, so do you mind just slapping on David later called the cops on him and he got arrested, and it's like, what? He's he's the greatest mastermind in the world.
This is turning into an Unbreakable review. What this is a review of Glass. We also watched last year's Split.
Yeah, we got to talk about
Split. Which is kind of the one in between the two, which I kind of liked, but got too silly by the end, and I was completely sick of it by the end. And James McAvoy, like, of course he's a good actor, but there was too many characters, and I just found it too silly. All the different characters he was playing.
It's a silly movie.
Yeah.
It's a silly role, but it's fun. I thought it was fun. I thought he just like grabbed it by the horns and just said, let's just go all out and just do silly accents.
Yeah.
Like, he was having a lot of fun. I was having fun watching him have fun. So I thought Split was.
So there's no reason for us to think this movie's bad then. Like,
well, I'll tell you what. The end. You said the end of Split there left you a bit cold.
Oh, the end I really didn't
actually
like.
made me angry because
Okay, now we're not going to spoil Split as well. I mean, I'm presuming if anyone's listening.
No,
and they're
we are
to
going to
Glass.
spoil Split. You have to. Okay, so spoilers for Unbreakable and Split, and then later spoilers for Glass after we've seen it. But the end of Split, you all probably know, is... guess what? It's in the same universe as Unbreakable. Firstly, I didn't care because I hadn't seen it, to be fair. So I didn't have
that's your
this sort
problem.
of...
That's saying you don't care about Avengers Infinity War because you haven't seen Captain America.
Yeah, I'm explaining my own personal feelings towards that ending. So it left me like I don't care. But I understand for a lot of people who, you know, have loved that movie and been rewatching it for over 17 years or however long has passed. That was probably quite an exciting moment. But it just felt like it didn't land because it didn't have an emotional connection. But also it just felt like in this age of like cinematic crossovers and blah blah, I was like, oh, another one, and like, do we have to really go through the? And
I don't mind that. I just think why not? Like, you know, milk that cash cow if you can.
yeah, okay, well, whatever. I wasn't excited for it, and it just like.
So you're just basically negging on the movie we were about to go see.
No, because then we saw Unbreakable, and I thought that was great. So now I'm like back in.
Okay,
I'm
this
back
is the
in. I'm
longest
invested.
intro in the history of the cinema. So we are going.
We haven't even got to the
We haven't
cinema
got to
yet.
the cinema yet,
It's
and
like we've got room.
It's really cold, and I think safe to say we're trepidatious about this movie, but hoping for good things. And it's been really successful in the box office. And like Samuel L. Jackson is great, so I like to see him star in a
The
movie.
posters for this movie have been brilliant.
Yeah, the posters.
The trailer
are cool.
was not very good.
I didn't watch the trailer, so I'm like completely blank on that. For
All
me, Unbreakable was the trailer. Okay, let's go. It's
Unbreakable
cold.
was the trailer. That's not fair. You can't just reduce
No, I
that
mean,
movie
that was my
to
prep.
a trailer for Glass.
That was my prep for this movie, was watching Unbreakable. So we've put
Okay.
in the legwork here. We've done our research for once, okay?
Yeah, we've gone to some serious effort
Yeah.
here to watch Glass. All right, come on, let's
Bye.
go. Bye.
My bones break easily. I've had 94 breaks in my life.
But you have an extraordinary IQ.
This is not a cartoon. This is the real world.
No way.
And yet, some of us still don't die with bullets. Some of us can still bend steel. I've been waiting for the world to see that we exist. May I meet the beast? I hope for your sake that he likes you. That sounds like the bad guys teaming up. A lot of people are going to die. Don't do this. Are you ready?
Right, hi, it's us. We're back. It's over.
And it's cold, so this better be quick.
I just thought that was profoundly stupid. Like it's like he doubled down on all the things that I thought were stupid about Unbreakable. All the Split stuff was still like James McAvoy, very enjoyable.
Yeah, but do you feel like when you're watching James McAvoy and like agree, like obviously he's a great actor and he's really enjoyable, but it's just like watching like Steve Coogan in The Trip, just doing loads of impressions. Like it's just someone
it's
flipping back and forth between impressions,
Yes.
which is enjoyable but ultimately not very rewarding.
No, it's just it's fun, yeah, and it's not like there's no subtlety to it.
No.
But then this movie, it doesn't know the word subtlety at all.
No.
I would say, which is such a shame, okay? Because you look at Unbreakable, which we saw only a few days ago, and it's like it's made by a different filmmaker.
Completely disagree.
Really?
Yeah, completely disagree.
But to me, that movie is slow and takes its time. It's it's ridiculously slow, and it sort of lives in these little moments. This movie is mostly just concerned with its own farcical plot, and it only retreats up its own arse the more it goes. So it's so far up there that it's completely lost sight of the light, so to speak.
Strange analogy.
So why do you? Okay, what were you going to say?
Okay, I think the First of all, I think you cannot watch this movie unless you've seen the other two, right? It's completely designed to be the third in a trilogy. It's not designed to be standalone.
I was thinking at the beginning, if somebody just walked in, oh, this looks fun.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson.
No. And it
you'd be so
finishes
confused.
it starts right after Split ends, right? So first of all, to your point on pace, third movie in, this is essentially a direct sequel to Split and a direct sequel to Unbreakable, and both movies are hugely referenced. I think the pace thing, I didn't mind it as much. I really think if you enjoyed the other two, to me, this is exactly what I would have expected. Like, you know, I did enjoy the other two. This movie is exactly what I expected it to be. And actually, I think it's very obviously the same director. To me, it felt like it all felt very similar. And what I really liked about it was what I liked about the other movies, which is that it's like a mid-level budget, and it's, you know, there's no huge set pieces and there's no huge amount of CGI, albeit there's some of that. And it just felt like a normal movie, because so many of these movies you go and see, they're just so outlandishly CGI that like you kind of lose track of them. And I like that it had just had a very claustrophobic setting, and most of it was actually just kind of dialogue over action. So there's actually lots of stuff I enjoyed. And I love the continuity of acting, so that the little kid in Unbreakable is, I'm positive, the actor in this. Like, it has to be, right? It's him.
Yeah.
So it's he's a good actor, which is surprising, and look, maybe that kid actor went on to do a lot. I don't know, I haven't seen him in anything else. A lot of kid actors tend to be like really bad adult actors. But I thought he was really good. Obviously the cast is really good, right? Like the three kind of main guys plus Sarah
everyone's
Paulson.
kind of having fun in it,
Everyone's
except Bruce
fun.
Willis, who's incapable of having fun.
Yeah, but what I really like is
And
the kind
is
of
a complete like killjoy in everything.
Yeah, he is a killjoy.
In every facet of life.
But I think what I really like as well is the idea of like taking two seemingly unconnected movies, right? Unbreakable and Split. Like, we didn't know they were connected until the end scene of Split. I like the idea of taking like the goodie from one movie and then the baddie from a completely different movie, and then merging them in the third movie. I genuinely think that's cool. Now, obviously, I still think that it wasn't a very good movie. I was saying all that, like, because I was really enjoying it at the start, and I was like, I'm enjoying this too much, I'm going to be let down. And I love the idea that they were kind of positing, which I'm sure isn't a spoiler because it seems to be like the central premise, that like...
Careful.
I don't think this is a spoiler. If it is, we'll do a spoiler warning later.
Why don't we just move to Spoiler Street now? I'm sure everyone's seen it.
Okay, we'll move to Spoiler Street.
Because I've got loads to say about.
So on Spoiler Street now, I love the idea of the central premise that was positing to the characters themselves that like actually everyone who thinks they're a superhero is just like got delusions of grandeur.
Oh yeah,
and
that was in the trailer.
You can apply everything back to like, you know, how she defined it was you've one kind of impactful incident in your childhood and you've got this frontal lobe issue, right? So blah 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 science. But that was clever though.
It's very, very clever, but can so easily be unravelled in one instance. Oh, get me some metal and I'll bend it for you. Explain
well, no,
that,
but that's what I wanted, and this is where I was hoping the movie would go to.
They
and
could demonstrate their abilities.
No, but
instantly.
I wanted the movie though to, and this is where it lost me, and kind of in the last quarter, it lost the run of itself, and it lost me because it was so busy like twisting and stuff. I would have loved if the actual end of the movie, and this is where I thought it was going, is that they didn't have any. I mean, first of all.
Yeah, that would have been more
Samuel L. Jackson doesn't have any powers, right? So I know where they kept referring to him as a superhero.
No, he does.
He's clever.
To be fair, but he's a mastermind clever.
No, but that's not being a superhero. That's just being clever, right?
Just smart.
And being evil. The other two,
also,
like legitimately, both in both their movies, it's posited that they're superheroes, right? So what I would have loved in this third movie that wasn't their movie would have been like, no, James McAvoy is just really ripped, which he is. And like Bruce Willis is like moderately strong, but they're both suffering from delusions of grandeur. And I love the way she explained, like, yeah, he didn't rip the bars open. You could have done that with the crowbar. Like, it would have been really cool if that's how it ended, and I'm really disappointed that
would have been a lot
end.
more interesting.
It would have been
okay,
so clever.
To your point about it being sort of mid-budget, and like nothing they're doing is that impressive, that was possibly the thing that kept taking me out of this thing. It's almost too grounded in that everyone is so preoccupied with the whole plot of this movie is there are super gods among us, absolute gods, and this would change the face of humanity if only people were to know. But when you actually see them in action, like the showdown is in a car park, like basically looks like an industrial estate, and And the biggest thing that happens is James McAvoy gets shoved up against a car and it kind of rocks a little bit.
No, but that's the point. Like, they were saying the original Superman in the original Superman comic was actually just a normal guy who couldn't fly.
Oh my God, that was one of my...
No, but that was the point. Like, they're
No,
like, it's
sorry.
just based on like strongmen competition, and like people can do extraordinary things, but obviously people can't fly. And
Come on.
that was clever.
That was one of the worst lines in the movie, where she, whatever, faceless...
Shamrock
pretty
lady.
girl. No, faceless pretty girl from Split, who was walking around with perfect hair and makeup in the middle of...
I don't
It's like
think
she
she's
was from a
faceless.
different movie. Whatever, but like...
She has a face.
She sitting in the office with Sarah Paulson and says, "Did you know that in the original Superman, he didn't even fly? And also, Metropolis, New York City. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Superheroes are real."
Drop the mic.
Even though, she said it as if like, "Hey, I've also been doing some research."
But
so
I enjoyed that stuff because, like, comic books are silly and superhero stuff is silly,
No, but
and I
this is
enjoyed
when-
that this was trying to.
Yeah,
I think
comic books
his
are
notions
silly.
were grand. Like, his notions were grander than what he ultimately did, because I think the kind of genre bending stuff he was trying to do, and he was trying to be really clever and like kind of pull apart the whole superhero thing and bring it back to reality was so cool. And then in the end, it's like, oh no, but they are bloody superheroes, and oh no, extra twist.
Oh, come on,
Sarah
the
Paulson's
amount
a
of
baddie.
twists.
And then, extra...
Stop
oh, no,
it, M.
she's
Night
got
Shyamalan.
a shamrock
Stop
on her hand.
fucking twisting.
But I was like, wait, what's the shamrock about? Like, I got
God.
that was a part of the movie where, like you say, you got pulled
second-
out by the special effects, but I got pulled out by going, sorry, what's the shamrock thing? Like, am
Yeah.
I not remembering something
The
from the other
second
movies?
the second it zoomed in on the sniper's shamrock tattoo, I was
It's
like, oh
no.
fuck, here we go.
But you can't do that. Like, in
Secret
it,
cabal
because
of...
like the good thing about this, I think, being, you know, the third movie building on a sequence. Also, you can't just throw in things like that and like pretend like you had them plotted all along, because if that was the truth, we would have seen some shamrock action in
But
the
you
last two
telling
movies.
you telling M. Night Shyamalan that he can't just suddenly do a 90-degree turn at the end
no,
of
but
his
I'm
movie.
saying you have to see
It's like
this
telling
stuff.
a dog not to
Like,
bark.
no, not giving away the end of Sixth Sense, but like when you know the end of the Sixth Sense and you watch it, like the stuff's been very cleverly seeded. Like
Yeah.
nothing was seeded about the end of
Do
the
you know?
movie.
Okay, the only way this shamrock fucking bullshit is gonna fly with me is if we all go back now and watch all of M. Night Shyamalan's movie, and then if we zoom in and see shamrock tattoos on all the main
I mean,
characters.
then I take my words back, right? So if
Bruce
I'm wrong,
Willis
I'll say I'm wrong.
was a shamrock tattoo the whole time in The Sixth Sense.
But
also, why?
honestly,
Sorry, on
I
that,
enjoyed it.
on that point, why would you, if you're in a secret cabal of fucking leprechaun cult people who are protecting the world from people who are mildly strong and can tip over water canisters, why would you wear your secret tattoo in the most obvious place that, like, you can't wear short sleeve t-shirts?
No, you can't wear any t-shirts because it's actually on their hand.
It's on their wrist.
Yeah, it's not. No, it's like on the corner
So
of their
stupid.
hand.
And they all go to restaurants at the same. Do they book out those restaurants?
Yeah, that's the other bit. Then this
like-
is exactly when the movie completely lost me.
Also,
When-
if you booked out the restaurant, then why do you need to make a big deal of the last person who isn't one of us has just left now, so now we can all talk, but you can stop all pretending to be.
Yeah, just book out a meeting
book
room.
out a fucking yes. It doesn't make any sense.
But
Sorry,
this is
what
when
were
it
you
really lost me, was when she goes. So first of all, Bruce Willis, they keep trying to say like his kryptonite is water. It's like, no, he's just a human who can drown. Okay. But when someone's like holding his face in the water, and then
saying? In a puddle.
Sarah Paulson's like, take my hand, Bruce Willis. And then he takes her hand and he just sees her having dinner. Again, I was like, sorry.
He sees her sins.
But she wasn't doing anything in that scene. So visually, it wasn't interesting. And
she didn't explain to Bruce Willis like what that meant.
No,
he
she
didn't get any
explain anything.
context. So it's
Honestly,
like,
I was really
why, I'm
disappointed.
dying. Why are you showing me the last dinner you had?
I was really disappointed that Bruce Willis died. Like, I thought that was quite sad. Like, I didn't enjoy that at all.
I would describe the whole movie as underwhelming.
Oh yes,
in the
definitely
middle,
underwhelming. Like, I'm saying I enjoyed it, and I did, but like, I think it's a completely middle of the road movie. Like,
it was like literally the tagline for this movie should be, "You'll believe a man can push a jeep over."
but I really liked honestly, I think Samuel L. Jackson. Like, I was really enjoying his performance. Like when he's in the wheelchair and he's not responding, but you know he's going to respond soon, and like. And the constant threat that someone's going to break his bones.
All that stuff of him breaking out of prison and
fun,
him and James McAvoy teaming up was all fun. I enjoyed the middle part of this movie.
I enjoyed it, and I think honestly,
And then
if
it was all downhill
if
from
he had shaved, and I know I always say this, but I really mean it in this movie. Like if he just shaved a bit of time off, Like Unbreakable is a much shorter
Yeah,
movie
like
than this.
we had half an hour before they were in the psychiatric hospital.
Yeah.
Start in the psychiatric hospital. We didn't need to see. Okay, actually, that actually undid all the good of Unbreakable, because seeing David and his son as sort of Batman Robin.
No, I like that.
No, it was cringe.
Because the end of Unbreakable, I thought, what's Bruce Willis going to do now? I didn't get it. So now I'm like, oh, I get what he's been doing.
Unbreakable was this perfect little movie, and then you've got and then this is the problem with most prequels, where you're like, oh, what would it be like if when you see Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting Anakin Skywalker, and it's like, oh, that's it. And so it's like the promise of like,
Getting proper mental health care can help you feel more like you. That's why Cerebral offers convenient access to online mental health services, including therapy and medication management. Cerebral's diverse clinician team can help with anxiety, insomnia, relationship issues, workplace stress, and more. You can schedule and communicate with your care team through Cerebral's mobile app and attend your sessions from the comfort of your own home. Get started with or without insurance. Plus, you can use your FSA or HSA. Start your first month for 50% off at Cerebral.com/ACAST.
David becoming this superhero, and then the reality is this brightly lit version of them sitting in front of a computer, and his son going, so I've triangulated the coordinates of the butcher.
No, but I like that because it brought it to reality.
Positions.
Because it's like, what would he be doing? Nothing.
No, but that's the
he can
problem.
really do. He's like a middle-aged man.
Boring to watch.
No, I enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed, like, again, having just watched Unbreakable. Like, they made it out to look like the same set as like the house in the old one, and I just thought all that was like good fan service.
Having just watched Unbreakable, which looked gorgeous, like it was shot on film clearly, like had just a lovely, like, this is what I mean by he's like a different director. That movie and The Sixth Sense are atmospheric. Like, they feel like...
This wasn't atmospheric.
This is just brightly lit and quite ugly for the most part.
But it's also like really difficult with three central characters to kind of juggle them all. Now we have to talk about the absolute worst part of this movie. So when we watched Unbreakable,
the minimum security prison,
there was a plot of a miniature plot in Unbreakable of M. Night Shyamalan like being a drug dealer in the football stadium. And then he shows up in this movie, and obviously you just think like, oh, it's just a cameo, but actually no, they decide to keep the kind of continuity going. And turns out he's like, yo, didn't you used to work in the football stadium? And I just was like, no, you've taken it too far.
Then it got even worse.
Are you being really self-indulgent and putting yourself in your movie? You're giving yourself unnecessary lines, and you're linking yourself back to the last movie. Like, your character is just so unnecessary.
He even wants his cameos to have a backstory.
Yeah, it was just like
it's
totally ruined.
M. Night Shyamalan cinematic cameo universe.
Yeah, it was really
and he's like,
bad.
hey, I was into some bad shit back then.
Was he in Split as well? Probably playing the same character. I don't remember.
I mean, who cares?
Yeah, so I thought that was really bad. And yeah, the minimum, like, what makes no sense in like the sequence, which I enjoyed, of all the three main men in the room with Sarah Paulson kind of doing their therapy, and Bruce Willis is chained, but James McAvoy isn't, and it's like, okay, but
he's the most dangerous one.
At the very least, you know that like James McAvoy's murdered loads of teenagers, and at the very most, you know that Bruce Willis has just mildly attacked some baddies.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it kind of makes more sense.
She had the
twist.
Lights behind her.
Yeah,
so
she had these
totally
lights that
fine.
make. I enjoy the nonsense science. You just flash the lights at him, they hypnotise him, he like flips. It's fine. I like the really annoying security guards, and I think they both deserve their deaths. I enjoyed them.
No, yeah. To be fair, they were a bit of fun. But no. Hang on. So first, the problem with this psychiatric facility is that it's huge. It's basically the size of an estate, and there are. It's alluded to the fact that there are. We don't know how many other inmates, but it's not just the three of them. So there are because she says, put all the other patients on lockdown, which means that this entire facility is guarded by one man in the door.
Yeah.
And then
who's got a vitamin D deficiency.
One other guy who takes turns. Yeah. At a desk and is away from his desk for a large period, which is absolutely batshit when you have a serial killer who's one of the most high-profile serial killers that they've just kidnapped or whatever, arrested, and they have him in this, like, being guarded by one dude.
Yeah, but that actually all falls apart further when they introduce the twist with Sarah Paulson, because if her whole job was to just kill these three men, why did she?
No, she was trying to convince them of this because they didn't want to kill them. That was her whole plot.
Okay, but
trying
again,
to
it still doesn't really make
humanely-
sense. Like, where is she getting all the accreditation with, like, the court to take these three men into, like, this hospital? Like, who's
Because it's
giving her the keys to all of this?
Because
like?
the Shamrock people, Cathy, the Shamrock people have been running the show for 10,000
But why did
years.
she
Because
kill
comic
Bruce
books
Willis, though?
are real, Cathy.
But why
because
did she kill Bruce Willis? Because he still believed he was a
because
superhero.
he believed it. Yeah.
I just thought that was really sad. But it's
She was
really
trying to
cold,
save them.
and I want to go inside now because I want to wrap things up.
No, the last thing I want to say is the end of this movie is absolute bullshit.
The three of them in some random station.
kept twisting and twisting, and then it's like, oh no, it turns out Samuel L. Jackson recorded the whole thing. And then we get this sort of what I think M. Night thought would be this profound moment where the world realizes that superheroes are real. The three
You
the
just
three
think it's doctored
characters.
footage.
Yeah, exactly. Who's gonna see that? I could go on YouTube right now and search "Man Ben Steel," and
Yeah.
somebody's probably fucking made it on
Well, we could
TikTok
just
or
see
some
Bruce
stupid
Willis
app.
doing it in
like,
this movie.
Why would anyone believe any of that
Yeah.
in the world? Like, it's like M. Night Shyamalan, bless him, doesn't really has he even heard of like fake news or like CG effects, which
Yeah, but I guess-
obviously not because he doesn't have any in his movies.
Well, I guess we have to, like, as with most of the movies, suspend disbelief and presume that when people... First of all, people are in train stations, their phones beep and they go, my God, and they all watch the same video, right?
Yeah.
Second of all, basically, Samuel L. Jackson entrusted all of these files to get delivered to his elderly mother's really old school computer, and she would know what to do with them, because, like, there's a lot
I
of
love
files.
her old iMac.
Someone had to, like, edit them together. So you have to believe all of that. And then...
No, he that's the other thing. He live streamed it, even though she received an audio file and several video files.
And he introduced
which is not
it,
a
like,
live stream.
He said it all. He's like, mother, some people believe that, blah, 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 blah. But look, honestly, it was so funny because online everyone was giving out that. Did you read this? That the actress who played Samuel L. Jackson's mom is like 7 years younger
She's
than him.
5 years younger
Or
than
5
him
years
in real
younger.
life. Yeah.
But actually, I don't... Look, normally I'm like the first to criticise like the double standards around men and women in movies and their age. But it makes sense because in the first movie she was cast to play a young mom.
No, same actress.
That's what I'm saying. She was cast to play a young mom
Oh,
who
right,
gave
sorry,
birth to
okay.
him.
Yeah.
So therefore, it made sense that she was younger than him because then it flashed forward like 40 years later. So they couldn't have had a 40-year-old actress.
I mean, look, that's the least.
No,
of
but
this
I'm just
movie's
saying,
problems.
like, the complaints about the age thing don't actually add up because she needed to be younger than him because she played a young mom and then she got aged up subsequently. But I just enjoyed how, like, old she's supposed to be and, like, how tech-savvy she is. It didn't really align with her at all. Not that an older person can't be tech-savvy, but this character didn't present that way. So all of it made no sense. Anyway, and then I just thought, side note on the younger, like, teenage character from Split, who you said was faceless, which was a weird thing to say, 'cause she's actually got a very distinctive face. But
No, I don't know what I meant by that.
you meant that she had, like, nothing to do.
She kind of
But
just
she
looks
suffers
out of
from some
place
weird,
in this
like,
movie.
Stockholm syndrome. Like she's like fancies James McAvoy, even though he like murdered her friends. And
Well,
stuff.
Kevin rescued her. I to be honest, that some of that kind of worked for me. The stuff between her and Kevin and her trying to help him. Yeah, some of that was landing until she said about I've done some research. I've read some comic books, and turns out that Metropolis is New York.
Yeah, I mean that was really
So it's
bad,
all
like.
real.
And I love
Basically,
when
comic books have been trying to tell us for years that it's all real.
But some of the big problem
It's
with
like,
this
no.
movie and a lot of his movies is the dialogue. And like, there's a scene where like James McAvoy is captured and she's in school, and for no reason she walks by a trophy case where we see that the young boy went to that school, right? Completely unnecessary
What a
bit of
twist!
information.
They went to the same school.
But then the principal basically goes, you know that guy who like kidnapped you and like murdered loads of girls? Yeah, they've caught him, and your step parents are really happy about that.
Your step-parents are so delighted.
And then she goes, I mean, you were probably wondering about him, right? It's like, yeah, I did wonder about the madman who kidnapped me and murdered loads of my friends. But the headmistress goes, who murdered, like, those girls. Like, she othered those
girls, yeah.
she's
Even though
like-
they would have gone to that
Yeah,
school
exactly.
with her. That was a whole plot of
horrible.
Split. Oh, you know those girls? I forget their names.
Yeah, but listen, we really have to
But
go
you
because I'm frozen.
But
Dave,
do you remember?
come on.
Do you remember Joseph Dunn? He went to the school, you know. I have his photo
19
outside
years
my
ago,
office.
they mentioned so many times that Unbreakable was 19 years ago. It's like, yeah, it's fine, we get it. Okay, we need to go.
Okay, thanks everyone.
It was a fun movie, fun review.
No, it wasn't a fun
Okay.
movie. I had no fun at that.
I do have to say that
It
the
was
Avengers
really
trailer came on
stupid.
beforehand, and Dave like basically got up, ran out of the cinema because he didn't want to
I'm
see
not
the
watching
trailer. Spoiler alert: there was nothing in it, so you missed nothing. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. That would be most appreciated.
Let's
And
let's all chat about Glass forever.
Yeah.
Because I thought
chat about
this
Glass on
movie was
Twitter
so
at
much
the
fun.
Cinemile.
I want to talk about this a lot.
Yeah. All right.
So
Okay.
go
Goodbye.
go to the twits and talk to us at the Cinemile. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
This is where they would paint you with big eyes and bubbles of confusion above your head.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
I'm Jessie Cruikshank, and I've always been told I have a face for podcasting. So I launched a podcast. It's called Phone a Friend because each week I'll break down the biggest stories in pop culture. But when I have questions, I get to phone a friend. I'll phone a royal watcher to find out why Prince Harry is acting like a real housewife. I'll phone a tween to please explain Euphoria. And maybe I'll even phone a Backstreet Boy to find out if I still have a chance. I don't? Okay. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.